Hello and welcome to Skills to Pay the Bills. I'm your host, Tia Young, and today we dedicate our segment to the men and women who serve our country with honor and distinction. Our special guests are program managers for the Department of Veteran Affairs. They are experts in the field of veteran employment services and disabled affirmative action outreach. Please welcome Ms. Zelda Davis, Veteran Outreach Program Manager for Veteran Employment Services, and Ms. Renetta Bradford, Veteran Employment Program and Disabled Affirmative Action Program Manager. Ladies, welcome.
Thank you, Tia.
Thank you so much for braving the traffic to get here today.
Yes.
But we're going to get started. Before we get into the questions, I would like you both to talk a little bit about your background and what makes you experts in the field that you are in.
Okay.
So we'll start with Zelda.
Okay, so thank you, Tia. Yes, so I am a 21-year Army veteran. I served across the states to include overseas. And so my job in the United States Army was very various. I did operational jobs. I was a recruiter. I also was a personnel manager. So my experience is very broad, it's very vast. And so I bring that experience to the position of being a veteran outreach manager for the Veteran Employment Services Office, where I advocate, well, myself and my colleagues, we advocate on behalf of veterans to ensure that they have the best employment and training opportunities that are available to them, but not just the veterans, but also to the military community as well.
Oh, okay. Ray?
Sure, I'm an Air Force as well, a veteran as well. I was almost there 20 years into the Air Force, and like Zelda, kind of spanned the globe. Got a chance to serve overseas in Germany, as well as some other areas here in the United States. And with me, the same thing. I had a lot of leadership roles. I started out from the bottom, worked my way up, did pretty well in the military before I got out. And then because I've done private sector, when I got out the military, I knew what it was like to have a hard time finding the right job for me. And so I think what I bring is not only my experience in the military as well as working in private sector, for-profit companies as well as nonprofit, as well as what it took for me to get a job. I bring those skills with me to advocate and to ensure that veterans, transition service members know how to brand themselves to ensure that they get the jobs that's best for them.
Right. Wow, you guys are experts in the field, and we're so honored to have you here today. Just a question, I know that you are working in different areas, but do you blend and combine your efforts together? Do you get to call each other and say, hey, you know, can you help me out with this and that? Can you talk a little bit about how you partner together?
So we are a small office, and so we collaborate a lot. Ray is the Disabled Veteran Affirmative Action Program Manager. She's also the Veteran Employment Program Officer for the VA. And so I am the Veteran Outreach Program Manager, but we also have a colleague. She is the HR Manager to include our USERA Program Manager. And so because we're small, we kind of spill over into what we each do to support one another. So Ray, you can pick up.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely right. There's no way that we could all do this individually. It does take a team. And we say we are small but mighty. And so with that being said, we definitely complement one another. We collaborate a lot. And we also work with federal partners, veteran service organizations, nonprofits such as this, actual show today to make sure that we can expand ourselves as much as we can through partnerships and through collaboration with one another.
That's awesome. That's really awesome, the partnership there. Well, do you have training available to assist veterans with writing federal resumes? Because when I'm out in the field a lot, I'm hearing a lot about resume writing, and that whole scenario has changed from even 5 or 6 years ago.
Yes.
So can you guys talk a little bit about that?
So we actually have a website. It's the VA for Vets website, as you see annotated on our on our signage. And so we also partner with the Office of Personnel Management. And so we have 24/7 real time. They can go to our website, and under Job Seekers Training, virtually, they can click on and view some of the training resources that we have on how to write a federal resume, but also again, we partner with the Office of Personnel Management so that they can actually sign up. We make sure that we have a link on our website where they can sign up for the training with the training that OPM provides. And so that is monthly. So they just kicked off training this month. It was on November the 12th. And so when we go to career fairs, we advocate to ensure that they're aware of the training, and we try to get them signed up there when we're at the career fair. If not, again, they can go to our website as well. Right?
Yes, and that's very important that they take this virtual training. Again, it's free. It costs nothing for them to take the training other than their time and access to a computer. The training is about an hour and a half long. It is live training. So it's not where they're just going on and looking at a webinar or video. There is actually an instructor who is there to walk them through the entire how to write a federal resume, and not just format, but content and strategy. Because I think that's what we're talking about. How do I know what to say? How do I know what to do? How to answer these particular questions in writing my resume? So we highly recommend this hour-and-a-half training. Like Zelda said, they can go to our website, VA4Vets at VA.gov, and they can actually sign up in partnership with the Office of Personnel Management, who actually performs the training. And Zelda and I has taken the training. We are definitely telling you this is a great training that they can take, and it costs them nothing but time.
Right, and I was going to say, I want to add that the focus to me is on federal resume, which is different than a lot of resumes. I mean, the people want one page, but as I recall, the government wants to know everything.
Right.
That's did, unless that's changed. So correct me if I'm wrong.
No, so you're absolutely correct. So in the private sector, less is better for them.
Right.
But in the federal government, it's more. They have to be detailed. So there is no limitation on the number of pages.
Right.
As long as you are detailed in your experience, explaining your experience and the special skills that is required for the job that they're applying for. And another thing that we tell them is that make sure if you have a resume, have your resume out with you while you're going through the training, because you can actually write on you're writing your notes to yourself. Because again, the training, like Ray said, is only for an hour and a half. And so you have the instructor there, you can answer questions, but once the training is over, you got to be able to put what you learn into action, right?
That's right.
To better market yourself.
That's right. So, so now we got the federal resume completed. So how do the veterans get a job? What's the next step?
Wow, that's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah.
What is the next step?
What is the next
And
step?
so what that is that we also navigating through usajobs.gov. usajobs.gov is akin to Monster, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, all of those other websites that you would go to normally to apply for positions. Then the federal government, for the most part, that's what usajobs.gov is. So they would have to learn how to navigate through USA Jobs to know how to apply for positions. Once again, there's some training for that. On the same website, we provide to you the access to free training on how to navigate through usajobs.gov. It's another hour-and-a-half long training. At the most, it's going to be an hour and a half. It's also live. It's also free. All they would have to do is go on and register for the class and then be there during the time that it says you should be online to take it. It would teach them everything they thought they knew about USA Jobs and even more. And again, we took the training, and we can tell you that it's a free service offered by the federal government through the Office of Personnel Management, and we highly recommend it.
But also too, Tia, they have to make sure that they have a USA Jobs account.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You have to have an account.
All right.
So in the account, you're going to either build your resume, or sometimes you can upload your resume. So USA Jobs allows them to store up to 5 resumes, 5 separate resumes that they can use to apply for a federal job.
For different jobs.
Yes.
For different jobs. Now, Ray, you're working with the disabled veterans. So is there something a little different for them?
It's a combination of both. Right.
Yes.
That's very
how
good.
does that work?
So for disabled veterans, we have a couple of programs that are available to them that we call the non-competitive hiring authorities. And I do want to chat with a little bit about that, because there is a misunderstanding with some of our veterans and transitioning service members that non-competitive means literally no competition. And in reality, really what it means is you're competing with a smaller group of individuals than you would if it was competitive. Okay, so there are a lot of
okay.
individuals
Yeah.
who have a service-connected disability of 30% or more. You're competing with those group of individuals, or a lot of individuals who may have a Schedule A letter, and I know we're going to talk about that later, but you're still competing with individuals who have that Schedule A letter. So it doesn't mean that because I'm 30% or more service-connected disabled, I received a rating from VA, that means that I can just send you my resume, tell you that I want a job, and you just go out and find me a job. That is that's not
Yeah,
correct.
you're right.
You have to still apply.
Apply.
You have to still qualify for the position, and you have to still compete, but just with a smaller audience than you would if you were not disabled in any way, meaning 30% or more, or had a Schedule A. So that's the difference, and that we want to make sure that they understand. But once again, they will understand what positions to apply for in the federal government where their disability will be considered over non-disabled veterans and non-disabled individuals, but they have to still compete for the positions.
Okay, and is that 30%?
30% or more
disability?
service-connected disabled
Service-connected.
Service-connected.
or
Service
Schedule
connected.
A.
Yes.
So those are for individuals that may be disabled, but they're not 30% or more. In cases like that, they can get a Schedule A letter, and so we can talk about that a little bit more.
But let's talk about that now. Let's talk about
Yeah.
the Schedule A. Let's go on and tell us about that Schedule A. Because
Right.
I've heard of that, but I didn't quite know exactly what that meant.
Sure. Schedule A is another form that can be used not just by veterans, but any individual who has a disability. There is a form letter that can be found on our website
Yes.
as well, where you would take this form letter to your physician. Your physician, you have to have a certain type of category of a disability, and if when you take it to your physician, that individual says, yes, you fulfill one or all of these types or categories of a disability, they can then sign a Schedule A letter, place it on the physician's letterhead, and date it and sign it, and that is what we call a Schedule A letter. Basically what it's saying is that you are disabled, but you can work. Right? But you're disabled under a certain category is your disability. It does not tell anyone what the disability is. It just says that you fall within one of the three categories that's indicated on the Schedule A letter itself. So if you're an individual that is disabled, and you are not a veteran, or if you are a veteran and you are not 30% or more disabled, the Schedule A letter is another option for you.
Okay, very good.
And the,
Hold up on that thought. We're going to take a short station break, but we'll return after these important messages. So don't touch that dial.
Noises like that used to make me hit the deck. But now, I can keep going.
Don't get me wrong, I still don't love crowded places, but it's good to get out again.
Transitioning from the military can be tough, but many veterans are facing similar challenges. Visit MakeTheConnection.net to watch our stories and learn ways to create the story you want to live. Make the Connection.
Welcome back. You're watching Skills to Pay the Bills with our special guests from the Department of Veteran Affairs. They're program managers, Zelda Davis and Renetta Bradford. Ladies, prior to the break, we were talking about special hiring of authorities.
Yes.
So
yes,
can we continue that discussion?
Yeah, so before we move on, we were talking about Schedule A. I just wanted to state that when you, let's say you do get you utilize your Schedule A when you apply and you get hired under Schedule A, you'll have a 2-year probationary period. So that means, yes, 2 years. So as a veteran, before you can be brought on, you have to at least have served honorably, right?
And have a disability, so you have to have served honorably anyway in order to get the Schedule A letter or to get the 30%
So
or
will
more.
you have a honorable discharge?
Yes,
That's what
your
that
DD,
is,
we
an
call
honorable
it
that's
the
what I mean,
DD
yes,
214.
yes.
So
Okay.
your DD 214 will be proof that you are a veteran, proof that you have served honorably, and how you were discharged from the military. And at the end of the day, like she's saying, you have to, if you use a Schedule A, there is a 2-year probationary period. We do want to make sure they are aware of that. If they do decide to apply for positions under the Schedule A hiring authority, under the 30% or more service-connected
It's
hiring
different.
authority, it's a 1-year probationary period. So those are the differences in there. And then we also have another non-competitive hiring authority called the VRA, which
Right,
is
the Veteran Recruitment Appointment Authority. So with that one, again, the veteran has to have served honorably. They had to have gotten out of the military at least 3 years to apply, and then they can apply if the hiring manager decides to bring them on non-competitively under the VRA, then they have to at least, they can bring them on up to the grade of GS 11. So that is
That's pretty high.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's a 2-year probationary
It's
period
2-year,
as well.
yes.
They call it, like she said, the VRA. You have to have served in the military for at least 3 years honorably before you were discharged to be qualified for the VRA. You do not have to be disabled, but it is a
No.
non-competitive hiring authority that a hiring manager can choose to bring individuals on, as Zelda already said, up to the GS 11 grade.
Okay.
And so the other one, the Schedule A and the 30% or more, there is no grade restriction. So that's the
Wow.
difference.
Right.
Only the VRA requires a maximum of a GS 11.
Okay, so with no restriction, it could go all the way up to a GS 15
Absolutely.
or
Yes.
a
Sure can.
SES even?
Well,
Yes.
definitely GS 15. And then also what we want to make sure they understand is that you can use it as many times as you want.
Wow.
So once you find a job somewhere, so for example, someone hires you to GS 7 under the VRA, but then somewhere else you want to apply for GS 9, you can use it again under they can use it as the VRA as well appointment. As long as it maxes out at GS 11, the VRA appointment can be used as many times as they up to the GS 11, and then the 30% or more
Right.
can
That's
be used
awesome.
every single time, as well as the Schedule A.
Wow.
Now the difference with the 30% or more, and then we'll move on, is let's say Ray and I, or we're already careerists, and I choose, because I'm a disabled veteran, and I choose to use my 30% or more that appointment. Then I lose my status. If I apply for a job and the hiring manager brings me on non-competitively, then I no longer have status. They have to at least keep you on at least 60 days, right, before they can reassign me permanently and make me a careerist again.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So what
Yeah.
we're trying to say is for those individuals who may already be in the federal government, we
Yes.
would caution them on how, even though you can use these authorities,
Right.
we would caution them
There's a
in making
downside,
sure
yeah.
that they understand what that means every
Right.
time they use it.
Right.
So once you're a federal employee and you are permanent or career conditional,
Yes.
we do recommend they really consider whether or not they want to continue to use those authorities every time they want to apply for other
Wow,
positions.
that's good.
But we can, talk about that at a later time.
At a later time. Here's a question. What is the best way to determine what federal position best aligns with the person's military skills?
Very good. What a mouthful.
Yeah.
So-
That is,
Occupation series in the federal government and military occupation series is, there is no way to see how they compare. So one of the things that Zelda and I and our other colleague Emily Berry does is we help the veteran in showing them based on their military experience as well as their occupation series, which jobs in the federal government best aligns with their military skills.
so you're
That is-
doing that one-on-one.
Right,
You're
so
working
what we
one-on-one
do
with
is
the
we have
person.
Yes.
a questionnaire that we
Yes.
have them complete. And then once we have them complete the questionnaire, we can give them the jobs or the occupation series, I should say,
Yes,
that they
the
should
job
use to apply for or they should look for in the federal government that aligns with their military skills. So it's a little bit more detailed than that, but that's something that we offer as a service for our veterans seeking employment in the VA.
So for situations like that, is this something that can be done in 30 days or is something that you have a process and it might take 3 to 6 months?
As far as getting a job, you mean?
Yes, yes.
It just depends. We have been known to bring individuals on in 2 weeks, 30 days, and like you said,
6
3 to 6 months
Right.
with everyone else. It's just situational.
All right.
What we do is we advocate for that short, bring them on quickly. If we
Right.
can provide you, the hiring manager, supervisor, qualified veteran applicants to fill some of your critical vacancies, we want you to consider them because you literally can bring them on non-competitively in 2 weeks, less than 30 days.
Yes.
So that's one of the things that we advocate for that by building relationships with supervisors and hiring managers to try to persuade them to consider these authorities. What we want to make sure everyone understands, your audience understands, is that the hiring manager has the final authority. So
Yes.
we cannot force anyone to use these
hire, yeah.
authorities. All we can do is advocate for, educate them, and then hope that they will use these programs
Right.
that we are offering.
Next question, and I don't know, both of you, please respond to this one. Job fairs, do they really work? Are they really? Because I've seen a lot of military job fairs, but it doesn't seem as if the military is really putting them on. And I've seen somewhere it looks like VA is really heading this up. So can you all speak a little bit about job fairs?
Okay, so we partner, and I'm going to let, because she is our program manager, so I'm going to let her
Okay.
talk about Recruit Military. I'm going to talk about the side. When you decide that you're going to go to a career fair, dress the part, come expecting to interview. Because we go to a lot of career fairs, summits, resource fairs, and they come not in a suit, not dressed, they come, and I'm being truthful.
Yeah, I want you
with
to,
just
what does
walking
dress
out the
for
door
part
with
mean?
casual clothes.
What does that mean?
And so you
Yes.
know that you're going to be sized up as you're walking up to speak to the employer or the HR specialist. They're sizing you up as you're coming up to them. So you have to take into consideration, am I really serious about looking for a job? And if I am, I must dress the part. Now I'm going to let Ray talk about Recruit Military.
Okay.
So yes, so I can say to you that yes, the job fairs does work, but like my partner is saying, we have found that those veterans, transitioning service members who may struggle the most with getting jobs is because they don't seem to come being serious about getting a job.
So
we
is
have,
this
yeah.
in addition to dress, is it?
Yes, so
is
it's attitude
a
as
part
well.
of it?
Attitude is
Yes.
part of it. Also, they don't seem to know what they want. So we have seen them come to even our table with the Department of Veteran Affairs and say, well, what kind of jobs y'all have? Well, this is not Burger King. This is not a restaurant. You're not here to order from the menu and look at the menu and say, I think I want a steak with potatoes here today. You need to know and have done the homework to know what does this particular company offer in form of employment, so that when you come to the table, you can say, this is my experience,
Yes.
and this is what I can offer your company. Do you have any opportunities that are available to me based on my experience? So we oftentimes have to correct our veterans and transitioning service members when they come to our table and tell them, you're starting out wrong, my brother. You're starting out wrong, my sister. That's not how you do this. You need to come seriously looking and letting individuals know who you are and what you bring to the table. And like Zelda said, you're at a career fair. If you want a blue collar job, then there are certain companies that you can go to that you can be employed as a blue collar job. If you're looking for a white collar job, then you need to look the part for a white collar job, meaning you're going to be working in a building in an office setting.
right.
So if you're coming to me in your t-shirt and jeans,
That's what I was going to
and
ask.
you
Can I
are
come in my t-shirt? and my
believing
favorite
that we're going to
jeans?
hire
We
you
don't
in a
recommend
corporate
that.
setting,
Right.
then that's already, unfortunately,
It's a waste
that
of
is a
time.
waste of time.
Yeah.
Now, if you decide that that's what you want to do, I'm sure Home Depot, Lowe's, there's some trucking companies out there that are looking to hire veterans. There are some civil engineer companies, individuals who you can show up in your golf shirt and your khaki pants because you know the type of work that you're going to be doing is
Right.
not inside of a building.
Right.
So dress the part, meaning know which employer you're going to, what job you're seeking, and is my attire going to say to them that this is the type of
And
person
you're
you want to
serious.
hire,
And
that
that-
you're serious.
Right,
So
right.
that's one of the things that we have several career fairs that we work with. We won't promote them because we know that we can't do that, but we
Right.
can say there are a few career fairs that we can tell you that we partner with, and they do hire
And
veterans.
your information is scrolling as we talk, so people can
And
call.
so please go to our website again.
Yes.
Our website is like a one-stop shop. So it's full of information. So we do have a list of career fairs that they can go to
Right,
Okay,
throughout the
very good.
country.
throughout the country.
Nationwide, not just here in the DC
Yes.
area.
Right.
Not yes.
Well, ladies, I have enjoyed so much this interview. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming.
Thank you for having
you
And
us.
so much for
you know,
having us,
please
Tia.
consider coming back because I mean we still have 3 or 4 questions that we
Sure.
didn't get to,
Sure.
but we just don't have the time
Yes,
to do
we
that.
don't.
So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, and you're welcome back anytime.
Thank
Sure,
you.
and
Thank
thank
you
you for
so
your
much.
time. And please, audience, visit our website,
Yes.
www.va.
This is a very cool sign that you have. I like that.
There we are. All right. Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much for watching Skills to Pay the Bills. We hope that you have not only enjoyed listening to our 2 outstanding guests, but that you have learned some useful information about the Department of Veteran Affairs and 2 of its many outstanding programs. If you are a veteran and feel that you are in crisis, no matter what it is, please immediately contact the Veteran Crisis Hotline at 800-273-8255 right now. I want to express my personal thank you to every veteran who has served or is currently serving our country with honor, bravery, and loyalty. We owe you more than we could ever repay. Thank you so much, and please join us next week for another great show on Skills to Pay the Bills. Bye-bye.